This is my friend Ryan, and for the past 4.5 years, he has been destroying me in chess, with him only losing one game out of the last 36 straight matches.
You can't keep getting away with it!
So I challenged him to an in-person game 10 days from now, which is hopefully enough time to prepare. But if I'm gonna have any chance of beating him, I need a plan. So let me introduce you to Plan Checkmate. Thank you, I know, very creative. Rule number 1, I need to play and analyze 10 10-minute games every single day.
You executed a great checkmate attack.
Thank you, David.
These reps are especially important, not only because it's just going to make me better at the game, but also because of rule number 2. I need to focus and master one opening. And the opening that I chose is the King's Pawn opening. I know, super standard, but it's used at every single skill level as well as just super consistent, so I thought it would be perfect for this challenge. Rule number 3, I need to study every single day. Now this could be watching a video, studying my opening, or using the resources on chess.com. All are good, I just need to spend 30 minutes every single day learning more about the game. So with the rules out of the way, it's time to begin my redemption arc.
And the first thing that I see on day number 1 is no one other than the culprit himself. Bastard. And as much as his record was taunting me to challenge him immediately, I knew that if I wanted to win, I had a lot of work to do. So I got started on the first of 12 games that I dubbed the grind, because I did all of them in one session. And honestly, my only goal for day 1 is just to win more than I lose. And my first opponent was Muhammad, who put up a good fight but was playing way too fast.
How much you want to bet I can do that and he'll auto move this somewhere? I'm gonna do it.
I freaking
Knew it, dude. I knew it.
But for now, things were going well and I was able to win my first match.
Yay!
Muhammad couldn't stop me the first time, so when he offered a rematch,
We're doing it.
and right as I geared up for the fan favorite rematch, I clicked on settings and left the game without knowing.
Did I quit my match?
Anyways, after that slight hiccup, I was on to my third game, where I was working my magic and really having a dominant performance.
Ah, well, I'm screwed.
Yeah, no, I lied. This graph tells the whole story. And all you need to know is that the more white there is on this graph, the more that he was winning. And even though I was getting completely destroyed, I was still able to find the draw.
Hey, we got the draw, baby.
I went on for the rest of the day, winning the majority of my matches and only drawing 2, ending the grind with a record of 7 wins, 2 losses, and 3 draws. And now that I'm on day 2, I knew that I was one step closer to being able to defeat Ryan. And if I'm gonna have any chance of doing that, I'm gonna need to improve my understanding of the King's Pawn opening, as well as get used to the most common defense, the Carl Khan. And I watched these videos to help me with that process. And after studying for today and what I forgot to do yesterday, I finally got started on my 10 games.
I see the line here, right? Bang, right? Bang. He can't take, I can take, or I can take. He's gonna move this out. It's a free rook.
It was not a free rook, but I still played a good game and was able to win the match.
Yay!
But unfortunately, not all of my games went this smooth, where in this game I was able to find a lead even if my methods were a little bit questionable.
W move.
But even with the lead, there was a big problem. All that time I spent checking boxes has now caught up to me.
Thing is, I'm up so much material.
And I was starting to run dangerously low on time. Not to mention that I am terrible at endgames. And with this little amount of time, I knew that there wasn't any room for mistakes. So between my lack of knowledge and time pressure, I knew this one was going to be close.
Ah. Ah! Wow, that was close.
And with just half a second left, I was finally able to find the checkmate, ending day 2 with a record of 5-5. Not as good as yesterday, but at least we broke even. But the next day, I studied the games I did on day 2, and there were 2 major issues that I wanted to focus on all throughout day 3. The first problem is that I'm taking way too long to calculate my moves. So as a way to fix this, I'm only going to calculate 4 moves deep for everything I'm considering. Issue number 2 is that I usually focus too much on 1 or 2 pieces. So today I want to focus on activating all of my pieces. With those 2 goals in mind, I started the first game of day 3, which was a really quick match because he blundered his queen and then left the game. And then the very next match, I blundered my queen and then left the game. No, I'm kidding. I played it out, but it didn't go well for me. But in game 3, I saw something that I have never seen before. The wayward queen attack. It's a bum ass opening and I hate everyone that uses it. The goal is to draw out a reaction with this pawn, which then makes this fork possible, forcing the other player to get out of check and lose their rook. This opening is generally used to punish new players who use the king's pawn opening, aka me, as well as I fell for the trap. Bad. Going down a full 12 points before the first minute had even ended. So of course this game didn't end in my favor. Honestly, the entirety of day 3 didn't end in my favor. It just felt like I kept making the stupidest mistakes possible. I blunder a rook, a bishop, and a knight this game. And then the game right after that, I don't even want to talk about it. Ending the day with 4 wins, 6 losses, and 1 draw. But it wasn't all bad, because if we look back on the goals of day 3, I wanted to save time by calculating less and increase my piece awareness. This one clip alone shows I failed number 1. But number 2, that's a different story.
Oh, hold on. If I go here, he has to do something. I can just take the queen for free.
So at least some sort of progress was made on day 3. Then I was on to day 4, which started with a pretty embarrassing loss, which is ironically the same exact way I won my next game, where in this game I was losing badly. There was even a point where I was at mate in 3, but he was playing sloppy, and late in the game during one of his attacks, I was able to capitalize on his negligence, where in this position I was trying to apply pressure to the queen to try and make him take the unprotected knight, and in doing so he unknowingly fell right into my trap, giving me a back rank checkmate of my own. And then I kid you not, the very next game I do the same exact thing. It's happened 2 games in a row where I'm down so much material and then I just do some BS like this and win the game. And while day 4 is going well so far, that wouldn't stay for long, because I started this match with Mark T 2004, the game that cemented my indefinite hatred for this stupid ass opening, the wayward queen attack. The bummiest opening on the planet, and one that I will never fall for again.
Mark T 2004. This is not the end.
And directly after this match, I spent the next 30 minutes learning everything about this opening. After this, I was hoping someone would do that opening, and while I didn't know it at the time, my revenge was just around the corner. But for now, I would finish day 4 with a record of 3, 6, and 3. Day 5. I started today by watching these videos, and then I got into my matches, where something quite important happened. Alright, this was probably like my 8th game of the day, but you need to see this. I'm probably gonna cut out the rest. I finally got my revenge. E4, E5, and then he does the move. I'm not falling for it this time. I was well prepared this time. This move used to be dangerous, but now I have learned. He's still going for it. Look how greedy. This stupid motherfucker. Bang, castle. Now what, bro? He does something stupid. Try to align this up just in case this shows up. I was hoping for that. Bang. I'm like shaking this guy upside down for his lunch money, dude. Yeah, get out of here. Bang, give me that. Free. Move this out of the way for a discovered attack on the queen. He doesn't even see it. David says that's the best. David, you're wrong. Cause give me that queen. After losing in such embarrassing ways from this opening, it became personal. And now that I was able to not only defend against it, but be in a dominant position, it felt like every time that I put him in check, I was taking the power back from an opening that once ruined so many games. And I was having a good time. He thinks he's like got something going on with that stupid ass opening. Nah, bro, give me everything. As that, I follow, I find this fork, and it literally doesn't matter. I'm just in such a mode, I'm taking. Give me that. I'm taking every trade. Check, check, check. I did low-key throw the bishop. Check. Right here, I get this line, right? I go here, I put him in check while also putting this under threat. Now, he either has to move the king, and then I get it for free, or he moves it here, which is the only way that he saves anything. But as you know, someone who used that opening is a little bit slow, so he does this. So who's surprised? And then I do the same move. He moves here. It's the only move he can make. Give me the checkmate. This was a very satisfying match, allowing me to leave day 5 with 10 wins, 6 losses, and 0 draws. And now we're moving on to day 6. So far, I feel like this is going pretty well, but there's definitely a part of my game that is weaker than the rest, and that is my board awareness. So on day 6, I was going to try to fix that problem. So instead of studying by watching a video, I was going to do 30 minutes on lead chess coordinates. And honestly, I didn't think it was going to be this bad. Alright, let's get started. And a few seconds later, my first score was 6. Okay, I need to get this score up. That is embarrassing. I want to get at least 1 per second. That's my goal. I want to get a score of 30. And after a few attempts, I was able to get a record of 18, which is definite improvement, but shows that I need to put a little bit more work into this. And because of this, instead of playing all of my matches online, I versed my friend Landon in person. And then after I came home, I finished the day off with playing a few matches against Coach David, leaving day 6 with a record of 6 wins, 4 losses, and 0 draws. Alright, just 3 days days left. We're at the home stretch now, so I'm just gonna speed this up. Day 7. I watched this video before continuing my streak of sneaky checkmates. Like in this game where I was down on time and being pressured. But after looking at my options, I noticed something.
I just go here. Ain't that checkmate? Yeah, it is actually.
After a couple of games, I did my 30 minutes of studying on lead chess, where I improved my previous record of 18 to 23, leaving day 7 with a record of 5, 4, and 1. Now, it's time to get into day 8, where I only really had one goal for the day. Don't blunder, and play a little bit more safe, which was honestly a challenge. I love to play risky. But either way, when compared to my older games, it was definitely the correct move. After playing my 10 games, I studied coordinates again, improving my record from 23 to 25.
No, that was my best one.
Even though I ended the day negative with a record of 5 wins and 6 losses, I still felt the strongest that I've ever felt. So on day 9, I didn't waste any time to get into my matches. Alright, I want you guys to see this game. It's a beautiful thing. The game starts as it always does. E4, E5, and then he does this. The wayward queen attack. I went from having a normal day to being pissed off immediately, and I was about to take it all out on this guy. But he took the lead early on and kept it that way for the majority of the match. And for the first 5 minutes, I lost every trade, but there was hope, and I only saw one pathway to winning this game. Right about here is when I noticed this. This is a very weak pawn, but in his position, a lot has to go wrong in order for it to be dangerous. And if you don't see it, I'm trying to move my bishop onto the c6 square, so I can win the game by attacking that vulnerable pawn. He takes, I move b6, right? So now I have this, and then he takes my bishop. Pawn for a bishop when you're already up 7 is a beautiful trade. But he doesn't realize that I'm the comeback king. From being down 10. This was one of the first games of the day, and unfortunately was also one of the only wins of the day, because I proceeded to have one of the worst losing streaks of this entire challenge, ending the day with a record of 3 wins, 10 losses, and 1 draw. Meaning that I ended my final day of training with the worst stretch of games this entire challenge. Not exactly how you want to end the training session right before your most important match. But there's nothing I can do about that now. I just have to hope that all of the hours practicing, all of the time I spent studying, and all 102 games would be enough to turn back this sea of losses. Because time's up, and now is the moment to find out. Him on white pieces, me on black. And he starts the game with something I've never seen. But I wasn't too concerned. I had prepared for this, especially because I got the first capture and gained a slight lead, which he definitely wasn't happy to see. But it's a very slight lead, nothing all that dangerous. And as he kicks my bishop with a pawn, I make a mistake by not fully pulling it out, leaving it alone and unprotected. So I bring my knight out to continue development while also protecting my bishop. He does the same, and then I strengthen my center pawn. He continues development while attacking the center. I get my knight into a more valuable square. He does the same while also protecting his queen. And then I overstep with my knight trying to find a fork, which becomes a pretty obvious trade for him. He moves his knight into a more oppressive position while still being defended. I try to kick the knight, which leads to a trade later down the road. I try to put pressure on the queen, not realizing it's a losing trade. After all trades are done, I'm down a pawn, and then I try to kick the queen again, to little success. I've lost all of my trades so far, so I'm just trying to find a counter to give me any sort of breathing room, which fails and has me lose my queen. But after all of the pain and joy, we got back to it, with me taking the bishop and then him putting me in check. And I definitely did not accidentally and subtly foreshadow the ending of this match. With me escaping check, he was able to take my rook for free, and then I almost get my other rook up for free. Luckily he didn't take it, but I do lose this bishop, and then I move my other bishop to possibly the worst square on the board, making myself susceptible to this fork. Look, I was trying to get out of the way while also putting pressure on the rook, but it just didn't work. I moved my king to safety, and then he takes the bishop.
I was like, he chose at the worst spot to possibly.
This game was going horribly, and it felt like my losing streak from the previous day was carrying over. And honestly, I just felt like,
This is so good.
and maybe it was, but I wasn't going to give up. And as he's starting to finish the game, I'm trying to think of anything. From moving the pawn to trying to get his rook involved somehow to maybe create some sort of fork. But this late in the game and being down this much material, it wasn't going to happen. And as this game comes to a close, I do want to say that we did have a rematch and I won. It just so happens that I didn't record it. But for real, GG Ryan, and some things are meant to stay exactly how they are.